Four former pro-democracy lawmakers in Hong Kong have had their first night of freedom after being released from jail. Claudia Mo, Kwok Ka-ki, Tam and Gary Fan were jailed under controversial national security laws. Ted Hui is a former Hong Kong legislator and activist and now lives in exile as an Australian lawyer. And he joins me now. Ted, good to have you with us this evening. Now, you do know so many of the so-called Hong Kong 47. What's your reaction been to the release of the four so far? And that includes Claudia Mo, someone who has spoken on this program so many times over the years.
Yes, I have mixed feelings. They are my friends, they are my colleagues, comrades. We served in the parliament for one complete term together. We resisted the regime together, fought for democracy together. Now I'm relieved that they are home, they reunite with the family. But it still breaks my heart to think that they served more than four years, nearly 5 years in jail just for freedom and democracy. So I have very mixed feelings.
Yes, and were you concerned at all, Ted, that the authorities in Hong Kong might have tried to even extend their detention?
I don't think it will be extending their detention in jail, but alternatively, I think they are extending their detentions in a larger jail, so in a larger scale within Hong Kong. So I don't think they are really free. When their passport are still confiscated, they don't have their passport, and I don't believe that they can travel freely and to speak publicly and to have a public life at all. So to me, it's social death because they don't have a public life, they don't have their voice anymore publicly.
And from your experience, Ted, is it a given that Beijing will be keeping a very, very close eye on these four who are now out of prison?
I do believe so, and Hong Kong it's been so different from the past. In the past, if political prisoners were released, you would expect a big crowd of supporters, of fans waiting at the gate, welcoming them, give them hugs, flowers, and they will talk to the press and give statements, talk about how they feel about Hong Kong. But none of that happened this time. It's a complete silence, no protest, no crowd, nothing. And you cannot imagine. It's hard to imagine that even many of them actually opt to walk out of prison, but instead they were taken onto a police van, a curtain police van, so nobody can see them, so they cannot take any interviews. So they were hidden from view, no media access. That's why you can see that the regime is trying to hide them. They try not to symbolize that this scene is a scene of resistance, that people can unite together to fight back. So this is not that kind of freedom anymore in Hong Kong.
So by China doing that, Ted, have they succeeded in instilling fear in anyone that tries to challenge their rule?
That's correct. They have succeeded to turn Hong Kong, used to be a free region, into a normal Chinese cities where there's no freedom at all. So white terror are spreading everywhere. People would rather not do anything than to do something that the regime dislike, and in turn they will be thrown in jail. So that's the kind of public sentiments in Hong Kong. People are still angry, but nobody there, talking in public. That's why even four of our comrades are released. They are not free. Hong Kong is not free.
And then of those four comrades, would you expect any of them to either, try and return to the political fray or engage in any form of activism anytime in the future?
Don't think so. I understand that the police, National Security Police, that's what they call them, is having a constant, very frequent contact with them and their families. And in a way, it's threatening them that, if you continue to speak up and did what you have done before, fighting for democracy, speaking for human rights, you'll be in trouble again. You don't want to be thrown back into jail again, right? So I don't believe that's going to happen. And there's an election overhaul in the past few years in Hong Kong. So Democrats are considered unpatriotic nowadays, and so not eligible, not qualified to run in any public elections anymore.
And we do have to remember that there are dozens of others who have been detained. They remain in prison for their roles in the major pro-democracy protests and running the free press, like Jimmy Lai, Joshua Wong. What do we know about their conditions?
Yes, you're absolutely right that there are dozens of them, and there are hundreds and thousands of political prisoners, some of them more known to the public. They are former legislators and scholars and well-known people. So even some of them are Australian citizens, but they are now detained, and they will be released only in the next 10 years. How can we accept that this is the norm? So I do wish that Australian government and the international community will continue to put pressure to Beijing, to the Hong Kong regimes for their release.
Okay, Ted Hui, we'll leave it there, but thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you.